Unfortunately, nursing homes have become big business, and the quality of care has suffered. If you or a loved one has suffered injury or death at the hands of a nursing home, they need to be held accountable or it's never going to get better. And our loved ones deserve better. Call Battleborn Injury Lawyers at 570-9000. That's 570-9000.
Right now, more than ever before, this is the perfect time to upgrade your sleep for your health and well-being. And until you sleep on a new Tempur-Pedic mattress with the highest customer satisfaction rating, you haven't really slept. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi. At Best Mattress, we have the entire line of pressure-relieving and cooling Tempur-Pedic mattresses and the highest level of safety so you can shop with confidence and peace of mind. Plus, 72 months no-interest financing and free delivery. Best Mattress. Sleep easy, friends.
I couldn't believe it. There's no walking that back. This story's been out there for 31 years. I don't know why it came up now. I mean, because he's wearing the OWN t-shirt. I didn't back down then. I don't back down now. Every time I see him, I just want to run through him. Every time I see his face, every time I look at him, I want to run through him. I'm 51 years old. Why in the world do I need to lie about that?
Now, back to Cofield and Company in the Findlay Toyota studio.
Yep, former Colorado player, NFL player Alfred Williams does a radio show, longtime radio show in Denver. I think he's with KOA now. You know, a guy making like $750,000. Healthy living, not nothing to be bitter about. Nothing to be jealous about because Mike Gundy has somehow gone from a guy who was an accomplished college quarterback, but one that was accused publicly in 1989 of dropping N-bombs all over the field against the Colorado Buffaloes. Also, by the way, calling them criminals.
Yeah.
Which, sorry, with everything that's gone on now back then with Gundy and currently figures. So Alfred Williams says, hey, the guy was dropping N-bombs all over the field. I sacked him. He just, he got all mad going off the field. He was throwing N-bombs at us. And this is not the only guy. It's funny. I was looking back because you found a 1989 story. And again, this was public in 1989. This is not a Johnny come lately type deal where Alfred Williams is out to get Gundy. It was a public story, but I think, back then, it's not, I think, the world was a lot bigger. It's been shrunk down now by the internet. So that was probably more of a regional story. God, I'd love to find out if ESPN could look back at annals and at their, video archives.
If they covered it?
If they even covered it, if they even knew about it. Because come on, if that, obviously there were allegations that happened with the Steelers and the Browns and it resulted in Myles Garrett.
Where did the Steelers quarterback play in college?
Interesting. Where did he play?
Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Imagine if Mason Rudolph, if they actually found audio or video of it, and they're like, "Where'd you learn to do this?"
I learned it from watching you. Thanks for the setup.
Oklahoma State. Yeah, several This is from a 1989 story where they said after the game, Colorado players were like, "This guy's throwing N-bombs all over the field." Several Colorado players said Cowboy quarterback Mike Gundy made racial comments to them during the game. Canavis McGee says, this is 1989. He said it to me and a couple other guys on the field. Said outside linebacker Canavis McGee, a black.
Okay.
It got me real upset. Here's a guy in the spotlight all the time. To say something like that is not cool at all. All it did was fire us up. Defenders Bruce Young, Alfred Williams, both blacks. And Oakland Salavea, is that how you say his name? A Samoan also told reporters that Gundy made racial comments. So we had the safety in another story, the safety on the team.
Tim Williams, I think it was.
So that's 5 guys now saying back then. And Pritch told you off the air, and Pritch will talk about this exclusively tonight on JT the Brick Show. Pritch told you that he wasn't on the field because he was a receiver.
Right.
But that it had been talk during and after the game.
He just remembers how much they hated him.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wasn't specific about why, and I don't think he remembered those details necessarily. But he was just saying, like, we all hated him. He was a very, very cocky guy that nobody liked.
But Pritch made no reference to the N-bomb stuff. Okay. No. Let's get that right. Williams has said he doesn't want Gundy to be fired. He just wants an apology, which in a way is even better. And it's brilliant because How does Mike Gundy apologize for it?
Right.
Because guess what happens with an apology?
You're admitting it.
Yep. Unless there's some cockamamie apology where it doesn't, somehow you dance around, and we see this all the freaking time, right? I mean, we were talking about it with the comedian Chris D'Elia,
Right.
who's accused of doing some, scouting teenage girls, inappropriate online conversation, and he had this whole apology, but never really said that he did anything wrong. He apologized for not doing anything wrong.
Right. In fact, he denied doing anything wrong, but apologized and said he was an awful person. Like, okay.
Wait, so what did you do wrong? Why are you apologizing?
I don't know.
So Gundy's in a terrible position here. And you think about it, I was looking at their recruiting class for 2021. They've got 11 players committed. 10 are African American. They don't know about this? I mean, how do you react? How will other schools who are competing against Oklahoma State recruit now? You're not going to, I mean, I'm not even saying it's dirty pool. Hey, just so you know, this coach has a history of this. There's at least 5 players who played for Colorado football saying they heard it on the field. You got the T-shirt thing, which we know he did on purpose. You've got his comments basically saying that, his players are chattel. Let's get out there and make money.
Yeah.
He's been offensive repeatedly. And then this is, you don't just erase that, man. That doesn't go away. And back then, Gundy apologized. Now the video we saw disappeared. We'll try to find it.
Do they also use Mason Rudolph? Like, these are the kind of guys that he's turning out in the NFL too.
Gundy back then said, I didn't say it. It's just not true. I've been here 4 years, and well over half of my friends are black.
So he's keeping score?
I just did not say that. I wouldn't say something like that.
Why did so many people say that you did? And by the way, we pointed out, this was not like a bitter thing. Colorado blew them out.
Colorado killed them. They beat them 41-17.
Yeah, they didn't get angry and try to cast aspersions. They blew them out. And they were like, yeah, but this guy's a jerk. He said all these things. And you don't even have to negatively recruit specifically. Like, how many letters do you send kids that you're recruiting, right? Brochures and letters and all these other things. Just throw an envelope and throw that story that we found from 1989. Hey, here's the story. You don't have to talk about it. Just send him the story.
It's amazing. He might last the season, but I would have to think there's repercussions coming with recruiting coming up. And the other thing is, there's got to be guys, Chuba Hubbard and others on that team, who will want to reach out to guys like Alfred Williams and go, hey, so what happened?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be curious? Don't you want to know more about the guy you're playing for, who's going to tell you to run through a wall and be dedicated and loyal?
Would it be wrong of Alfred Williams to reach out to Chuba Hubbard?
I don't think so.
Be like, hey, I know that you're fighting this battle right now, but this guy that you went after, but then did this weird apology video with, this is who he is.
Should have him on a show.
Yes.
What would Oklahoma State do? Deny access?
They'd try.
How bad a look would that be? Why are you denying access? Let's be out in the open about this.
I mean, they're in a really tough spot, and Gundy's in a really tough spot. Created by himself. I don't feel bad for him, but he did this to himself, and I keep going back to it, but the Mason Rudolph connection just is jumping in my head right now, just because we've just experienced this in the NFL. Where did he come from in college? Who was his closest ally in college? Same guy.
Some loose ties locally to Mike Gundy. One, very loose, but Michael Jackson III, who's at Desert Pines wide receiver, committed to USC. Oklahoma State recruited him. I don't know that Okie State made his final 5.
Yeah,
I'd have to look that up. But interesting as well that if you look on some websites like 24/7 for recruiting, the guy recruiting Michael Jackson was Casey Dunn. Casey Dunn, who was expected to be the UNLV offensive coordinator, but decided to stay at Oklahoma State because he was going to get a bump up to OC there. By the way, the OC went back to his home state, my home state, and my school, Rutgers. I wonder what coaches think on the staff and the guys who left. And they're like, oh boy, yeah. Maybe Casey Dunn is like,
I'm the head coach.
I'm going to be the interim. Yeah. Or the flip side is, holy Christ, how do I recruit now? Because I got to go out I'm the one who's got to be in front of people explaining all this stuff with Gundy.
He's going to get asked about it. They know they are. They better have answers ready.
Amazing. And I don't think they'll pull the plug unless there's something. I mean, to me, this is there's been enough.
I think the school has to answer questions too. Like these things were out there and they hired him. Mm-hmm. They hired him, and he's been around there for a while. This is not new.
Well, he denied it.
Okay, good enough.
You know what's funny? I was going to say back in '89. I guess it was. That's a shocking thing too, because we'll also get defensive Gundy. Times were different. Like I don't the '89 that I grew up in. I know there was racism, but my God, this feels a lot different than times were different. It was 1963. It was 1927.
These people aren't even on the earth anymore. It's like no, they are.
We're judging yesterday by today's morals. Yeah. Yes. And I thought the morals in '89 were pretty solid. Apparently they weren't.
Well,
I didn't say it. I have black friends. Okay, you're off the hook, Mike Gundy.
Not just black friends, over half of his friends, because he's counting.
Crazy. So what the hell happened downtown? And I'll just reference downtown as where the Lights FC play. The soccer team here in Vegas, the coach is gone. We've got a he said. Adam believes the whole thing is the beginning of the end for the Lights.
ESPN Las Vegas.
Hey, Raiders on 3. 1, 2, 3. Raiders.
Home of the Raiders fan.
Paint It Forward virtually on Friday, June 19th at 6:30 p.m. with Ronald McDonald House of Las Vegas and Pino's Palette. Grab a drink and join your friends for this online painting class where you'll paint a relaxing beach scene while supporting families of children receiving critical medical care. $10 of each registration benefits Ronald McDonald House Charities of Greater Las Vegas. Purchase your tickets online at rmhlv.org.